Today I have the privilege to introduce you to a man who I believe is a torch in our generation. An intense Jesus lover, connected to the Father's heart, seeking His purposes right now with his family in the Middle East. I am honored to run with and to introduce you to the man, Fabian Grech.
From that time, Jesus began to show His disciples that He must go to Jerusalem. It was shown that He's going to suffer, He's going to be killed, and after the third day, He's going to rise again. It was in this place when the disciples saw more of who Jesus is. It was at this time that He not only showed them what He was going to do, He not only showed them the things that He was going to suffer and what it was going to take to save the world, but in this place, He was showing the disciples that they need to identify themselves with Him, that they also must go, that they also must suffer, that they also are going to be killed. And so in this place, Jesus was showing the disciples what He was going to experience and go through, and also what eventually they had to experience and go through themselves. It was only in this place when they saw more of who Jesus really is, He started to entrust them with more. He started to show them, to give them pretty much more responsibility. And as we see this as well, even in Mark chapter 3, we see that Jesus calls His disciples. It says that He appointed 12 to be with Him, and that He might send them out to preach, to have power to heal sicknesses and to cast out demons. First, He called His disciples to be with Him, and out of that place of being with Him, they will experience again who He is. They will experience His heart. They will spend time in His presence, and they were going to receive power to do the work and be responsible to continue what Jesus has started. I can even talk from my own personal experience. And as I gave myself to be in this place of intimacy and prayer, I can tell you even of a couple of experiences. One time I was laying on my bed and I was worshiping Jesus, and I started to experience this love and His presence, and I had tears in my eyes as I was experiencing this amazing love, and as I was in this place of intimacy, I started to express to Jesus, I want to love You more. I want to express more love. I wish You were physically here. I want to express more love. I want to hug You. And then I started to see this vision of people's faces. And He started telling me, if you want to love Me more, go and love them. If you want to hug Me, go and hug them. Go and reach them. And it was in this place that even myself, I started to experience God's heart and how valuable people are to Him. It was in this place, and even how valuable people are to Jesus. I remember even as I was in this place of prayer and intercession, I saw a vision of myself entering in God's heart. And I just simply saw one child. And as I saw this one child, then God took me where I saw continents of people. And God was again showing me in this place of intercession, being intimate with Me, I will show you the value of one. And if you learn the value of one, I will entrust you with more. I will entrust you with continents. And as I was getting ready to move to Iraq, again, God, in that place of prayer, God spoke to me what we must do as a family, as a team when we arrive in Iraq. And the first thing He told me was, start a house of prayer. And then little by little, I started to realize again, it's people being in this place of worship and prayer to bring this culture to Iraq, to see people become intimate with Jesus and be men and women of prayer, to take this responsibility. We must see this first in Iraq in order to see the move of the Spirit and the impact that we must see. And even as we look at church history, as we see individuals that they were determined to be in this place of alone with Jesus, they received God's heart, they gave themselves to prayer. That's when God started showing them more of what He wants them to do, what He wants to do, the responsibility, the power started to come in this place. And we see individuals, when individuals experience this, we see it starts to multiply among others. Men and women start becoming people of prayer, and that's when prayer movements start to rise and ignite. And I give you some examples. We know about the 100-year prayer movement among the Moravians. 100-year prayer movement, a prayer meeting that lasted 100 years when few individuals gave themselves to prayer and worship specifically. This fire started to ignite, and more people started to pray day and night without stop for 100 years. And this prayer movement is what gave birth to the first Protestant missions movement. And we know about this cry that they said as these men and women sold themselves to slaves simply to take the gospel to countries around the world. And as they were getting on these ships and they were waving goodbye to their family members, they said this statement, "May the Lamb that was slain receive the reward of His suffering." It was these men and women that they have experienced Jesus as the Lamb in that place of prayer, that they were willing to even sell themselves as slaves just to take the gospel to the world. We continue to see in South Korea, again, individuals give themselves to be in this place of prayer. God moves, God speaks, and more starts to ignite the prayer movement than a missions movement. We see Koreans all over the world. And this is not only happening in these known countries, even in the Middle East, in Muslim countries where there's persecution, the same thing is happening. We see it happening in Egypt. We see it happening in Algeria. We see it happening in Iran. As individuals simply fall in love with Jesus, stay in that place of prayer, they experience God, they hear Him speak, they continue to do this, and we see the boldness, the power that comes the more God entrusts them with. I can tell you, even in Algeria where there's persecution, when these believers that are continually praying again and become missional, when government police showed up at their meeting and they told them, "If you meet again, we will put you in prison," you know what they responded? They said, "You need to build a lot more prisons because there's many of us." What makes these people in these Muslim countries willing to risk their lives and willing to die? Why? It's because they are men and women that give themselves continually to prayer and worship, and they continue to experience Jesus unlike other people. And I tell you, as we are in this place of prayer, believers experience God's heart. They hear His voice. They are filled with His presence. They see things that others don't see. They hear things that others don't hear. It's in this place that we only experience Jesus, that we don't in any other way except we are alone with Him, and He starts to entrust us with more and more. And the question is not, will God speak to you? The question is not, will God show you things? Will God trust you with more? The question is, are you willing to be in that place of Jesus, to show Jesus, I want to be in love with you. I want to hear your voice. I want to be entrusted with more. When you have that willingness to be in that place of prayer with Jesus, it's a guarantee He will speak to you. He will reveal Himself to you. He will entrust you with more. Jesus says, "He who obeys my word, it is he who loves me. And he who loves me, the Father will love him, and I will love him. And I will manifest myself to him. I will show more of myself. I will let him see me." It's the people who are in love with Him and in that place of prayer. You're guaranteed that if you stay in that place, you will see more. You will experience more, and God will trust you more. In that place, it's when our beliefs crystallize into action and we are moved to obey God and to do His work in these last days. I want to take this time to pray for you right now. Father, I thank you for your voice that is speaking. I thank you for these men and women that are hungry to experience your heart, that are hungry to know you. Father, I pray that you will give them grace to remain in this place of prayer, to hear your voice, to see your face, to see your heart, to experience your heart, and that you will trust them with more, that they will be who you call them to be, and they will go out and make a difference in this world to show the world who you are. Thank you, Jesus, for touching them and pouring your Spirit on their lives.